This is a list of the 16 core philosophies that I wrote down when I was starting this channel that I wanted my content to center around. These weren't just for my videos though. These were from all areas of my life, and these are things that are really important to me personally. Some of these ideas have been part of who I am for almost as long as I can remember, and others have been added more recently. So today I wanted to share some of my favorites from this list. Here are 6 core philosophies that help guide my life. Number 1, less but better. Personally, I would rather have less things, but better things. Do less work, but better work. Have fewer relationships, but better relationships. I discovered this concept pretty early on in my pursuit of minimalism. This idea is attributed to a man named Dieter Rams, who was a designer. The title of his design book was Weniger, aber besser, which translates to less but better.
Weniger, aber besser.
I think I got that right. Number 2, daily habits over once-in-a-lifetime transformations. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned in my journey of living a better life has been the value of sustainability in practices. I burned out at the end of 2019, and I never want to burn out again. I have come close several times, but I've never reached that true burnout threshold. Working out 3 days a week for a year will have a greater effect than a 1-week fitness boot camp. And the same goes for writing, learning, or growing a business. It's all about showing up. It's about consistent daily actions that stack up to real, measurable progress. Number 3, set a consistent minimum and maximum threshold for effort in a day. On good days, stop when you hit that upper ceiling, even if you feel like you can keep going. And on bad days, just get to that base threshold and feel good about what you've accomplished. I am very bad at saying no, and I'm bad at overcrowding my schedule. So if I already know what those consistent thresholds are, I already have built-in limits so that I have to say no, rather than just piling more and more and more on my plate. I will say I am not perfect at this, but I keep getting better and better at it each year. It's never the right time, but right now is usually the best time. James Clear. It almost seems hardwired into us as humans to want to wait for the perfect moment to start a project or make a change in our lives. And at this point, I just realized it's procrastination. There have been so many times in my life when I've procrastinated on starting something because I didn't feel like I had enough information or I didn't have a concrete plan. The reality is you will never be ready, and so just start and figure it out along the way, because that's what everyone else is doing too. Number 5, when you're doing something, do it with 100% of your attention. When you're working, work. When you're resting, rest. This is a perfect example of just being present in the current moment. What I've noticed when I allow myself to be 100% immersed in whatever I'm doing, the stress and anxiety I often feel goes away. I also find that I get more accomplished in less time. This aligns very consistently with the fallacy of multitasking. Number 6, chase contentment, not happiness. If you've been around for a while, you know I'm not a huge proponent of happiness as a concept. To me, happiness is a feeling that comes and goes. I personally prefer to chase joy. Joy to me is an inward sense of well-being that cannot be shaken. The idea of joy includes this idea of contentment, of being at peace, being okay with where I'm at. Now, the key is not to confuse contentment with complacency. Contentment is about being okay with, happy with, content with the things that you have. And complacency is not being content with, happy with where you're at, but not willing to work hard enough to get to a place where you are. There's this great quote from Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu that says, "Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you." To be very clear, I am not perfect at any of these things. I work too much, I procrastinate, I skip workouts sometimes, I don't say I love you enough, and sometimes I don't like myself. But the reality is, we're human, and part of being human is not being perfect. When I'm having a tough day or when I overwhelm myself with input, these are some of the simple truths that I come back to time and time again. These philosophies don't embody the person I currently am, but they do embody the kind of person I want to continue to grow to be. If this resonated with you in any way, I'd love to hear down in the comments what simple truths that you come back to time and time again. I'm looking forward to reading those. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next week.